Quest to Q School, Ep.6, the series where I try and get good enough to go to PDTQ School in 2026. Now today is going to be an interesting episode. Now if you've seen the last episode of Quest to Q School or seen any of my most recent videos, you'll have seen that generally they all go the same sort of way. I get really excited to go to a darts tournament, I end up losing my head, playing really badly and getting knocked out of the tournament early on. But this week I have had a sports psychology from a guy called Rhys. Now Rhys has his own psychology company called Mind Over Matter Psychology. And I've had a session with Rhys and I've got to say it was quite interesting. I'm going to play a few clips for you now.
My name's Rhys Williams. I have a company called Mind Over Matter Psychology. So I work with like football academies and athletes, trying to improve their kind of mental performance to impact their sporting performance. So in terms of my training, I've done a degree and a master's in sports psychology, and I'm currently in the process of gaining chartership to be a fully fledged sports psychologist. I want you to kind of start by giving us a bit of a kind of a summary, I suppose, of your darting journey, things you may have struggled with, you know, in more recent months.
The darts itself, I don't think it's necessarily darts in general. We spoke last night about playing golf and stuff as well. It's always been that I've always struggled mentally with sport. Like, I'm like a lot of people, I don't like losing, which is normal, but it's the way that I go about it. So, especially the last few weeks, my throw's been getting better for sure, but I've been losing a lot of games and I know it's my own frustration. I know, you know, people say you shouldn't get mad at it and all this stuff, but it's all right saying you shouldn't get mad. That's like saying to someone, don't be depressed or just cheer up. That's not how it works. So it's more a fact of it starts off for me where I'll play. In the last three competitions I've played in, I don't know how it's happened. The last three competitions I played in, I've started the first leg of the game with the 17 darter, which is okay, not bad. And then I'll either get really nervous or it's just the wheels will fall off basically, and it will just go downhill from there. And then the rest of the tournament, you know, sort of falls off. If in the past I've never got nervous before darts, I always get nervous after the first 6 darts. Don't know why that is. I could throw 2 180s and still get nervous, or I could throw 2 26s, still get nervous. And then obviously when you get in that position when you're not winning a lot, when you've got darts to hit double to win, then obviously I still get really, really nervous. But it's not a case of people watching or that sort of thing, because I've played in exhibitions and stuff with thousands of people watching, and I've had a few drinks, so I don't really care. But I'll go and play my local tournament when no one's watching, and I'm absolutely cacking myself. I don't know why.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said about you know, having like a good leg to start, and you know that first 6 darts. It's interesting how you start strong and then it seems to kind of peter off a little bit. Do you think your kind of overall performance is affected when you do have like a strong start?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think it's I'm so used to not having a good sort of putting a whole tournament together. I mean, a good tournament, I would happily, if I averaged over 60 for a whole tournament, I'll be happy with that. That's not great. Oh, I can do that in practice all the time. So it's not like I'm not expecting to throw 100 average every game, because I know it's not realistic. But it's the case of sometimes I'll start off really well and fall off, or sometimes I'll start really badly and then just not get any better. So it's not. I think it's
It doesn't seem to be a pattern emerging.
Yeah, it's more of, and one was expecting it. So say I throw a good first leg in the first game, good first leg, I think, well, downhill from here, innit? I can't you know, I can't keep it up. But I know logically I can, because I'm good enough to do that. But my head's saying, well, you've not done it before, so you're not going to do it now.
It's understanding that kind of it comes back to golf, and being a golfer myself and trying to play darts at, you know, kind of a pub level, I kind of draw a lot of similarities between the two. So I don't know if this strikes a chord with your kind of golfing experience and then how it's transferred over into darts. But I think, you know, that common saying that it's just, you know, just pick your ball up or hit it and hit it again. So kind of like, you know, you finish that hole and the next hole has nothing to do with what's happened on the last hole. They're two completely separate occasions. They're not interlinked in really any way. Of course, in darts, if you've lost the previous leg and you have to win this leg to carry the match on, then obviously it does have some sort of impact. But in terms of that, it's only downhill from here is not necessarily true, because I'm sure you've had plenty of legs that are shorter than 17 darts. So there's no saying that couldn't be the following leg. So it's kind of, I think, come to the realization that every leg is completely independent from the last, and almost just hitting the reset button, and just kind of moving on and kind of just ignoring and repressing that last leg. Even if it was good, if it was bad, the next kind of reaction is always independent and always the same. So I think that's, when you see the best players in darts, in golf, I find it hard to, if you didn't see the scoreboard and you didn't see them throwing the darts and you just saw their reactions, sometimes it's quite hard to see, it's quite flat. Whereas you get, obviously there's always exceptions, like, Gezi, he's up when he's up and he's kind of down when he's down, but he's very kind of like visceral reactions. But a lot of amazing players, they just kind of have that, like, that flat kind of, trajectory, and they don't really fluctuate too far from it, whether they've, when they're winning legs or losing legs.
Another big problem that I have to change, because it's actually embarrassing. Like, I lose my temper so much. Like, I'm such a hothead. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, I'm horrible to be around. Like, I'm with my mates, and it's just like, I feel bad because when you saw that you see red and you just want to smash everything up. I don't often do that, but like, happened on Wednesday night. I lost my temper. I lost the game, which I should have won, but I didn't. So my own fault. And I just had to walk straight outside and just sit on my own outside for a little bit just to calm down. And actually, funny enough, I did film some of it as well. So that video's coming out on Monday. It's right there in the video on YouTube. So if you have a look at that, you can see exactly that's like in the moment how I'm feeling. So
yeah, it's difficult to kind of have that, that outside view at the time, because obviously it's great because it means a lot, and obviously you're wanting to push your own performance for yourself, for the channel. There's obviously a lot of kind of internal pressure, I think, as well. It's difficult because I think it depends how it affects you for the next. The worry I have is that people that kind of tend to have that real frustration, sometimes you can let it build up to a point where it actually affects your motivation going forward. So you kind of, I'm not sure if I've heard you reference it in previous videos, but you just kind of fall out of love with darts a little bit, and then that can have effects later down the line of wanting to pick up the darts less, wanting to practice less, thinking, oh, shall I go do that ADC that night? I'll just leave it this week because I'm not on form anyway, so what's the point? And there's definitely people out there who get frustrated and their performance increases. It'd be interesting to see how kind of like that frustration like manifests itself during a match, but afterwards I think it's a natural reaction. I think it as I say, if it affects you more like long term in motivation, and and if you're taking it home and kind of feeling frustrated and down in the day, then there's something that maybe we could look at putting some things in place to try and like manage your levels of frustration when it comes to when things don't go quite how you expect them to.
With the motivation thing, it's actually really strange because I'm actually the opposite. Like, when I get mad, I want to play more and get better. But that's a vicious circle. I don't do it normally after 80. It's late, but say I play a competition afternoon and I get knocked out first round, I come home and I'll be fuming. I'll go and play to get better. Obviously, because I'm so mad, I just get worse, and then I get worse. And I get mad, I get worse, and it's just a vicious cycle. And next day, I'm thinking, well, that was a waste of time. And then I'll have a day off or two, and I'll come back and reset again. So it's actually, being mad makes me want to play more, but that makes me worse. I'm so mad when I'm playing.
That's interesting then, because I think, as I said earlier, I think most people fall into the other camp where it would just kind of push them away from the sport, and we all know people who are kind of like that. But I think for me personally, I think I have a similar kind of attitude to you, where if I play badly, I'm like, oh, I've just let myself down now in front of the pub or whatever, and I'll go back and I could pitch for 8 hours in a row and just trying to get it out of my system. But as you said, I think if that's having a negative impact on your next performance, then maybe that's something to potentially look at. Taking that step away a little bit earlier, and kind of letting that frustration leave before picking up a dart again. So another question I had was, so I want to kind of go back to when you're kind of having that, you have that 17 dart leg
Yeah.
in a tournament, and then you have that kind of feeling of, oh, it's only going down from here. What kind of describe to me the next stage of that? So like how you're feeling in that moment. What tends to be the case? Do you start missing doubles, or is it just general, just kind of like just general pitching falls out the window?
Yeah.
What's the?
It goes two ways. So say first leg a win 17, the next 3 darts in the next leg. Say a decent score 140, 2 and whatever. I'll be like, okay, this won't last. That's how I think. This I can't keep doing this. I also think of, well, I'm not getting another 140. Or on the opposite end of the scale, if I throw a 41 or a 26 first 3 darts, I'm thinking, yeah, that's confirmed. That's it. Gone.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's almost like you've already decided that's what's going to happen, and if it doesn't happen, right. You go, oh, it's going to happen in a minute, and and if it does happen, you go, oh, so it was wrong. Yeah, so it's almost like you can't be wrong. You almost need to kind of change that internal dialogue of, oh, it's going to go downhill, to, no, I'd like to try and keep this going. And I think it comes back to, it's obviously a confidence and self-belief thing, but obviously you must be confident and have self-belief to kind of turn up to these tournaments and have good performances, and you've done well in tournaments previously. So it's just trying to understand that disparity between those two scenarios. Is there a scenario or a tournament that you can think of where you just kind of broke that routine and you kind of just powered through it?
So this is the thing that I want to talk about. Actually, it is really like the sweet spot. It's really strange. I don't know if I could do it every time. I think if everyone could do it every time, you would all be professionals, because I've had games before. I had the odd game, and like a couple of weeks ago, I had the odd game. I've averaged like 74, 75, which is quite good for me. Like, it's not world beating, but it's better than what I've been doing, better than the 50s and 60s I've been throwing. But it's strange because I'm focused on the game, but then I almost don't remember the game afterwards. I'm focused on what I'm doing. It's like I'm on autopilot, and because I'm playing, whether it's because I'm playing well, I'm hitting good scores, the legs are ending quicker, or whether it's just I'm just in the zone or whatever, I'll play and then have nothing going on. Well, not nothing, but I'll be like, right, just throw. Yeah. Generally, I'll be honest with you, that I'm looking after a few beers, which that works. But if I could somehow replicate that feeling of not thinking, but I don't know what I'm thinking, if that makes sense. I'm just thinking, throw it, but I can't remember it. I can't remember what I'm thinking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's probably termed as flow state, and that's something that people kind of like experience, and they just think you don't really have to think about anything necessarily. It's just kind of you just fall back into a rhythm, and you just play kind of to your natural ability, and everything seems to go right. And I think the reality of sport is that it's not always the case. I think sometimes you have those days, and everything goes amazing. And some days, I think it's by the sounds of things, what you've described, the biggest thing to work on is turning those days where you kind of are thinking it and their frustration is there, and turning a few more of those into kind of victories where you're never really going to be able to turn that into a flow state necessarily. It might happen every now and again, but I think some days you just are in that flow state. I think another thing that may be useful, it's probably slightly different, but it's like visualization. So, and I think it's one of those things where I suppose if you know what you've got left, you could be stood there visualizing, picturing a dartboard in your kind of mind's eye and thinking, I need treble 20, double 4, and kind of almost just imagine those, and I'm the same as you. I try not to pay attention to what my opponent's doing, and I'm looking everywhere else but the board. So in that moment, you could almost, you've got like a 2-dot finish, for example, like 56, you could just go literally picture yourself throwing the dart in the middle of the 16 and straight in the double 20. And I think something like that that's more on focused around the task at hand, I think might be a little bit more beneficial.
Yeah.
And again, everyone's individual. There's going to be different techniques that work for different people. And another one is breathing techniques. So like, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And the good thing about that, obviously, is it's quite subtle. It can kind of, there's research out there to suggest that it lowers your heart rate. So that's obviously going to make your hands more stable, because obviously your parasympathetic nervous system, you'll be slowing your heart rate down, your hands will start to shake less, you'll get less sweaty palms. So there is evidence to suggest that all of those things are related, and that by utilizing breathing techniques, you can lower all of those effects.
One more final thing is, and this is especially for the viewers watching right now, I'm playing tonight in a tournament. It's a round robin tournament.
Yeah.
Give me, I know you can't solve all my problems in one sentence or one bullet point, but what should I focus on tonight when I go and play? Give me 1 or 2, 3 things you think I should think or not think.
Okay. So the first thing that pops to my head is that irrational thought. So the irrational thought of the 17-dot leg to, I'm going to perform badly in the next. And if you hit the 140 on the first pitch of the next leg, you go, well, my luck's run out now. It's going to be the next one that's bad. I want you to kind of identify when that thought comes into your head. I don't want you to focus on it too much. I don't want you to be thinking, because it's one of those things where if I tell you to think of it and not to think of a pink elephant, the first thing that pops in your head is a pink elephant. So I don't want you to go into it just focusing, right, as soon as I think about that, I'll think about it, because otherwise you'll have thought about it before you even get there. So I just want you to kind of, just in the back of your head, just have a kind of realization when that thought comes into your head and identify it. Just have a think about how it feels at that time, and just monitor how the performance is after. And if you have one of the flow state kind of scenarios tonight, even better. I mean, it'd be interesting to have a catch up in a day or two and see how you get on tonight, and see, when it's fresh in your mind, how you felt when that irrational thought potentially pops into your mind. So that's one thing I just want you to keep an eye on. In terms of techniques, I think it'd be interesting for you to try and utilize the visualization this evening, and give that a go. And wary not to give you too many things to do and focus on, otherwise it's just going to distract you from your performance. So I'd like to kind of monitor that, and I think it'd be really good in as we potentially have a few more sessions, that you kind of we've got like a base to kind of monitor things from and see how you feel now, and we could kind of record that, and then over time as we work together, we could potentially see how that effect is diminished on your performance, and your performance has improved as a result of it. So I think that's what I'd give you as a take-home message for this evening.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time. What I'll do is, have you got a website and that sort of thing? And I know you're on Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah, it's www.mindovermatter.psychology.co.uk. But as I say, I'll give you all that information, so you can pop it in the description.
I'll put that in the description, not a problem. But if you haven't already, go and check out the website. Rhys clearly knows what he's talking about. For the last 40 minutes, he's given me loads of things I can take away. But thanks for your time. Really, really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll have another session soon, and my darts will get better.
Yeah.
And people will be coming to you. Maybe you'd like better at darts. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Some very, very insightful things from Rhys there, so make sure you go and check him out. You might have seen at the end of that clip there, he gave me 2 things to work on for last night's competition. Now, I didn't film last night's competition. I won 2 games, lost 1 game. It was round robin. Didn't get out of the group, unfortunately. Didn't play great, but I walked away feeling fairly happy. More the fact that I didn't get mad, didn't lose my temper at any point, and I played some really, really bad darts, so that's fine. Today, Another day, another darts competition. This one is a straight knockout competition. First thing is I'm going to try and eliminate these irrational thoughts. Now, obviously, thinking not to think irrationally will make you think irrationally. So I'm going to try and go with a positive mindset. I can throw good darts. I can win legs. I can win matches. And secondly, visualization. When I'm waiting to throw, sort of the hockey, I'm going to stand there visualizing where I want the dart to land in the board. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to go and pick Tom up. Tom's going with me today. And we're going to get on our way to this competition. Let's go. So I've just picked Tom up, and Tom's going to come and support me today because he's such a great friend. Now, Tom doesn't know this, but I had a psychology session yesterday, sports psychology. I've just said to you on the video that the main thing I've got to look at today is less irrational thoughts. So when I'm playing and not thinking I'm going to lose, I'm going to throw bad darts, them sort of things, which leads to me being more positive. So thinking I can throw good darts, I can win legs, I can win games, etc, etc. And also more visualizations. When I'm waiting to throw, I'm thinking about where the dart's going to go and that sort of thing. With that being said, Tom, what do you think I'm going to do today in this darts competition? Will I win games? Will I not win games? Now, bearing in mind you have to say I win games because otherwise my psychology is not very good.
And you're my drive home.
And yeah, exactly that.
No, you'll win a few games.
Okay, let's go.
I think you'll do well.
Let's go. So me and Tom were talking about on the way here about like positive mental attitude and that sort of thing. Tom's a lot better player than I am, something I aspire to be like, my hero.
Thank you, mate.
And we were saying, so when you're playing, Tom, what do you think of? So I think of like, don't miss, don't do that, I'm going to play bad, all this sort of thing. What's going on in your head when you're playing well or just playing in general?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
I told you this.
So he's in the peak flow state. But finding the flow state is, do you ever think of anything when you're playing?
If I fall behind, I start to panic, but I don't tend to worry. Distractions don't bother me either.
So there you go. So Tom, you might have seen him play before on my channel, but Tom's probably like a 70 average player, so he's pretty handy, a lot better than me. So don't think, just throw. That's the goal for the day.
Absolutely.
Let's go. First game played, 1-4-1, didn't play very well, but the main thing is, didn't get mad once. Played really, really bad, but didn't get mad once. And ended up getting over the line. As you will have seen, it was on stream, which was good and bad, I suppose. The poor kid I played against, you could tell he was really, really nervous. We both were, to be fair, both really, really nervous, but got over the line, that's the main thing. On to the next one. Second game played. I got through by the skin of my teeth. The doubling on that game was next level. The amount of doubles that I missed there was not ideal, but again, kept my head, didn't get mad, could have got mad. I ended up winning 4-3, could have easily been 4-1 or 4-2, just missed a lot of doubles. Scoring was okay, but yeah, on to the last 16, luckily. But you know, sometimes, another day I lost that 4-3, today luckily I got through 4-3, and on to the next one. We're still alive.
It's not going well. Not at all. Oh, it's took a leg. 114 now. Go on.
That's it, all done. Lost in the last 16. Didn't play very well. Deserved to lose, just couldn't hit doubles. Scored okay. Just couldn't get off the start of a leg and couldn't end a leg. So the middle bit was alright, just the start and the end. But on a positive note, didn't get mad once, which is good. And yeah, well, normally I'd be raging right now, but I'm actually not. I'm awfully disappointed not to win, but can't win them all. Didn't deserve to win, didn't play very well. We're going to go home now because it's taken 5 hours to play 3 games of darts, which is not ideal, but you can't do anything about it. Tom, how's your day been?
Long.
Yeah.
Very long.
Yeah, it's been a long day. Anyway, positives are won 2 games, had 3 ton plus checkouts, 1 every game. First match I took out a ton in 2. Second match I took out 102. And then the last match there I took out 114. So I had ton plus in each game, just couldn't do anything else in the other 3 legs of each game. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, all the usual stuff, and see you in the next one.